quo so that the job creators understand what their bills are going to look like. Let's repeal and replace Obamacare. It's a $2.6 trillion boondoggle that's going to take away our ability to choose where and when to seek medical treatment. When business owners and job creators understand what their healthcare costs and tax costs are going to be, they're going to be able to create jobs and grow our economy. And when we do that, we also in Washington have to stop spending ourselves into the situation we're in. The $800 billion stimulus was supposed to give us 5% unemployment right now. It failed miserably, and we're still paying interest on the money we borrowed to put that plan forth. And that plan, I mean, I'll give you a little story. While I was working for Congressman Shimkus, part of my job was to track where the money was going. As a matter of fact, in that bill, the website I used to track this cost taxpayers $18 million just to build. You know, that's the way they spend federal dollars when you start talking billions. $18 million website. I went and logged on, and using their own metrics, Doug, I saw that at one point in time, $541 million had been spent in the 19th District of Illinois, the old 19th. And the next column over, it said 543 jobs had been created or saved. That's why government spending at levels like that doesn't help our economy. It continues to hurt it, and it adds to our debt of $16 trillion. And we have to send leaders to Washington to make those changes and to put a stop to this.
We're closing in on the end of segment number 2. Real quick, I wanted to talk about taxes and the working man, not the millionaires or billionaires that have become so popular to talk about in all the advertisements, but the folks that are considered middle class, maybe even poor. The tax rates are hitting them, hitting us just as hard as anyone. What can be done at the federal level, or is this something that needs to be handled at the state or possibly the local level to take some of the burden off of the average Joe Six-Pack, we'll call him, Rodney?
Well, I'm the only person in this race that is saying let's keep our current low tax rates where they're at. Other plans, you know, my opponent who's not here has said he wants to raise income taxes to fund his government-run single-payer health care system, which goes beyond Obamacare. He also wants to raise taxes on all income levels by letting the current tax rates expire, which they're going to expire at the end of this year. I think that will be devastating to job creation. And then when you talk about losing jobs, certain plans that are out there, it's been estimated that if they pass, 700,000 jobs nationwide will be lost just by increasing taxes, and 30,000 in Illinois alone. How can we grow our economy when we put forth proposals that independent studies show are going to cost jobs? That will make the unemployment rate go higher, the economy won't grow, and we'll have less taxpayers and more people utilizing the food and nutrition programs and other programs that are our safety net. We have to grow our economy. Let's get our current tax rates. Let's keep them. Let's extend them permanently. And at that point, every single American will continue to enjoy the low tax rates that we have, and our economy will grow and jobs will be created.
John, same question. How can we take some of the tax burden off the poor and middle class?
As I mentioned before, when we had a balanced budget, we were taking in 21% of GDP. And had you gone around central Illinois and said, are you satisfied with the tax and spending policies of the federal government now that it's balanced? Overwhelmingly, you would have said, I can't believe they finally figured it out and got it together, and we were taking in 21%. Now we're at 15.5%, and we're $1 trillion in the hole. And I come back. It sounds like, you know, if you only have a hammer, everything is a nail. But the deficit and getting this deficit under control is the best thing we need to do for low-income people and middle-income people, because we are heading for much worse economic times if we don't get this thing under control. And to get it under control, we all need to have an oar in the water. And if we all are pulling, and that includes cuts in the Defense Department, that includes cuts to food stamps, that includes cuts to every program across the board. And if we can do that, and we can increase revenue, then we'll get on a trajectory where we avoid disaster, which is looming, I'm afraid. And that's exactly what Erskine Bowles is telling us, and a lot of different economists. So we've got to get this under control. And as far as the tax policies for low and middle income people, we all have to have an oar in the water. We're all going to have to pay for this. We can't get everybody on board unless everybody knows everybody is paying.
With that, we need another break. We'll come back and talk about some more of the hot topics with our two guests today. Stick around. Back on Let's Talk, our guest today, running for the United States House 13th District seat, and John Hartman, Rodney Davis, kind enough to join us today. If you joined us late, Dr. David Gill also on the ticket, unable to join us today. We did extend the invitation and to him as in his campaign, but we're informed late last week he would not be attending. Moving things along now, we dropped the topic of health care during the last segment, and we'll start with Rodney Davis. What are your plans? You say to repeal and replace. Is that to say there are some portions of what many of us know as Obamacare that you think are good ideas, should be kept around, or am I reading too much into that?
No, you're not reading too much into it at all. I'd urge you and every listener to go to my website and take a look at my health care plan that we put out on paper. And I believe it's going to address some of those positive things that are in Obamacare, like making sure that we have coverage for pre-existing conditions, making sure that we have standards so that there are no lifetime caps, and also allowing, especially during these hard economic times, allowing those young folks up to age 26 that need to remain on their parents' insurance plan, give them the opportunity to do so. But we also have to go beyond, and we have to put the doctor-patient relationship first. And I think my plan addresses that, because we would allow insurance to be sold across state lines, similar to the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program, and that would allow groups to join together, create larger pools, have better opportunity for cheaper access to health care and health insurance. But the key point to my plan is that doctor-patient relationship. And when you look at Obamacare, you look at the $700 billion that it takes from Medicare that's going to go to be taken directly from current beneficiaries. You also look at the increase in taxes that this is going to provide everybody, and then the projected costs were supposed to go down, but they're going up. And we have to put a stop to that. And that's why you need somebody in Congress that's going to repeal Obamacare and replace it with a plan like mine. And I will tell you, healthcare, it's not politics to me, it's personal. My wife's a 13-year colon cancer survivor. She was misdiagnosed for months. And because we had the ability to go beyond that primary care physician that was misdiagnosing her constantly and go to a specialist and get the right diagnosis, she was able to catch her cancer at a stage that just required surgery and 6 months of chemotherapy. And she just celebrated her 13th anniversary of her last chemo treatment a few weeks ago. I'm not too sure with the extensive bureaucracy that Obamacare, and let alone the single-payer system that our opponent, who's not here, has been advocating for 20 years. I'm not too sure that extensive bureaucracy would allow us to catch it at the stage that we did and allow us the flexibility to move on to a different doctor. That has to be paramount when we talk about health care in this country. The status quo is unacceptable. We have ways to provide that health care safety net to those who need it the most, and we need to implement a plan like mine to make sure that that happens.
John Hartman, your thoughts on health care, work on what we have, repeal and replace.